About 8 months ago, like any hopeless romantic in his mid-20s, I signed up for Tinder in hopes of finding my one true love. After scrolling through a list of women, I came across a woman who apparently lived in my hometown in Chicago. Let's call her Jane. Jane was an ordinary girl. Based off of her bio, she appeared to be a book nerd just like myself. She had many tattoos which I liked. It turned out that we loved the same movies and music. She appeared tailor-made for me, so I swiped right, hoping she would notice me in the sea of men who were better looking. She wasn't the kind of person I'd typically approach if I saw them at a party, but I figured I'd try shooting my shot. Up until that point, I didn't have any luck meeting anyone who didn't live more than 50 miles away, so I thought, let's give this a shot. I'm feeling lucky. Next thing I know, we matched and she wrote the first message. She wrote, "I was hoping that we were going to be a match. It's meant to be. You won't regret this, mister." That should have been my first red flag. After matching with her, I noticed she looked like a hot mess, meaning that her photos looked like I could tell she didn't shower much. I just had this dirty vibe from her. However, I was still interested. I'm the last to judge anybody on their fashion sense, but my gut feeling was telling me that something was off with her. At the time, I looked past it because we were so similar. Jane was one of the rare people in my community that liked the same bands as me, and she loved to rock climb. I felt less lonely knowing that there was someone out there who had similar interests and hobbies to me. But there is a big difference between not having a fashion sense and giving off a vibe of a future crazy cat lady. If you hear a little voice in the back of your head telling you that something is off about someone's dating app picture, listen to it, because that's usually just the tip of the iceberg. Despite the questionable pictures, we hit it off. Everything appeared to be going well. Jane was cheerful, intelligent, and pleasant. We laughed constantly on our cute first date and talked about our favorite movies, dreams, and future plans, and how many kids we wanted. Not even 2 days later, we were on a bus together and on our way to a nearby town where a summer festival was being held. Just normal new couple stuff, even though we weren't even in a relationship yet. Then in the middle of our conversation, she suddenly whipped out a little present and said it was for me. Again, red flags popping up all over the place. It doesn't matter how cute it might have seemed, it was far too early for that sort of thing in my opinion. Naturally, it felt weird, and once again I had that distinct feeling in my gut. But, of course, I chose to ignore it. The gift was a pimple-popping toy. I'm not even sure what that means. She gave me rather than labeling it as weird. I convinced myself that she was being sweet and funny. After a week goes by, a huge red flag came. Jane already had a boyfriend at that time. It shocked me. I found out when he called her on her phone while we were sitting on a beach. She of course first denied it and labeled him as a crazy ex-boyfriend, but after just a few questions, she admitted it was her boyfriend after all. At this point, there were more red flags around me that I knew this was the end of the road. She gave me the usual list of excuses for what she was doing. He was a prick and things weren't working out between them. She was about to break up, but she stayed with him because she was afraid he would harm himself if she left him. Or at least that is what I was led to believe, even though it was a fat lie. But being the idiot that I was, I believed her. I desperately wanted the words coming out of her mouth to be true. In a twist that surprised absolutely no one. Things only got worse from there once I tried to break it official. She turned a full 180 from a sweet girl to an absolute train wreck. There was bickering and a lot screaming. A few days go by and she sends me a picture of an emoji with the baby face. I then write ? She then says, "I didn't know how to tell you this, but I am pregnant." I was like, holy shit, this can't be true. She then said, "We are going to be together for the rest of our lives. I can't wait to share my life with you." I was shaking at the time. I remembered we slept together about 2 weeks ago, but I was cautious. I told her that I would like her to take a paternity test. She didn't take it well. She called me all sorts of things. She kept saying that this is your baby. You are the father. I told her if it is mine, I will be 100% responsible of the child. A few days go by and we met in person. She doesn't even act like she's pregnant. I was just getting the weirdest feeling that she made this whole lie. We get into an argument about me wanting a paternity test, and this is when she hits me on the face with her iPhone. She goes, "This is what you get." She also says pay me $500 for breaking my phone. I had to go to the ER because I was bleeding. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. I knew I should have listened to my gut. She tried to use every psychological trick in the book to keep me by her side. My life went from being relatively normal to a horror movie. I eventually grew a brain and realized that my life is not worth being wasted on such a lunatic. I ended up moving to a different city because I knew she was lying. I changed my phone number. 1 year later, I found her on Tinder again. I swiped left, but I noticed in her bio she had her Instagram. I clicked it. She had photos of a baby, but it wasn't mine. The baby was a different skin color. She was still dating that old boyfriend. I dodged a bullet. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror stories.